Late Night Health continues. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to be talking with Easy. We're going to find out about easy money, easy prayer, easy everything with Eric Zuley coming up on Late Night Health. In hour 2, believe it or not, we're going to talk to a public relations consultant, marketing consultant, who provides many guests to Late Night Health, somebody I've been working with for, 35 years at least. And we're going to talk about how Late Night Health has changed lives. A couple of weeks ago, gentlemen, our guest Robert Clancy and the Orange Cowboy Swami, a couple of weeks ago, I got a phone call, I got an email from a listener in the Midwest. I haven't even told this to Daryl. He's been diagnosed with some horrific disease. He heard our show that we did with Smitty a number of years ago, almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, something like that, 2 years ago. And Smitty was a friend of ours. He would come into the studio and watch us do the show, and disappeared and came back after being gone for 5 or 6 months to say goodbye, and went the allopathic way of treatment for cancer, and passed several weeks after he visited us. And do you remember? I thought he looked great, Daryl.
He sounded pretty good, and he looked great. I had spoken to him about 2 weeks before he passed, and had seen him about a month earlier, and he really didn't look terribly ill, but he had originally hepatitis C for a long period of time and died of liver cancer.
Yeah, it was. So this guy called, and he said, "You gave me hope listening to that interview," which just, I sat down and said, I'm getting teary. Can you guys respond to that? Robert, you go first.
Yeah, it's because you've touched lives with this show. And that's what it's about. And hope never leaves your side unless you choose to let go of it. And you gave him something to hold on to. And also gave him, for the end part of his life, something beautiful. And he appreciated you and his life and what, everything that was brought to it through this show, through the words, through the different people that have come on it. So you should be very proud of that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's funny. A family member called me about a month after. And I know Daryl remembers this because I told him at the time that Smitty was very proud of being, on the show and sharing his end-of-life story. It's gratifying to hear stories like that, and we get response all the time, but that particular thing just knocked my socks off. Swami, how about you? Any thoughts?
Well, the thing that comes to my heart now, after we've talked about it, this part of what Robert's just talked about, is the opportunity to add that, what we talked about earlier, that spiritual dimension, that when the physical body dies, let's have a conversation. What happens? Is there life after death? Are there people who have experiences of going to heaven and coming back, thinking they're going to die, and angels tell them it's not your time, come back to earth? I think when people start to...
That sounds like Robert. Robert, that was you.
Yes, Robert, it's me. A lot of people have these experiences, and adding this dimension to people's lives, there's so many people who are grieving for decades over the loss of a loved one. When they start to hear from their loved ones that they're fine, they're on the other side, and that they're giving real evidence that they remember that person, and that how else, we're not making this up, we couldn't make it up, but we're telling them what their loved ones are saying. This will add another dimension of relief, of ease, of joy, of sacredness to life, to the life of your listeners on the show.
Psychic attorney Mark Anthony, who's been on the show a number of times, has said that too, that contacting those who have departed is soothing to those who are still here. And we just got a book, and I've been reading it. The essence of the book is you had your life, now let's make your death really great. it's how to have a good death.
And love, for me, what you're talking about is love. And love knows no boundaries. And that's why in life you should never place them on your own heart or anything that you have, because it is truly boundless, and it goes from not only from this plane but into the other, and that's what you're seeing. And when you shared that story about your friend Smitty, who got hope from you, that's the love that's touching your heart.
Well, we hope that we're sharing hope and love each and every week on this show by allowing people the opportunity, the chance to experience new modalities of health, including spiritualism, including chemotherapy. I mean, whatever resonates with them. Gentlemen, thank you both very much for joining us today. I appreciate it. I'll be talking to you, I know, very soon. Robert Clancy from the Soul Ciphers and the Orange Cowboy Swami. Coming up next, Eric, and we're going to find out about easy living with Eric as Late Night Health continues.